How does Hercules, the strongest man in the world, murder his own family and still walk away from it a hero? Not exiled, not executed, not erased, worshipped. Statues, temples, his name still in your mouth 3,000 years later. But that man, in that room, killed 4 people that night. Everyone knew it, he never denied it. And every single Greek who heard this story decided he was innocent. So what were they seeing that you're not? To understand what she did to him, you have to understand what he did to her, which is nothing. He was a baby. He hadn't done anything, but his father had. Zeus, king of the gods, married to Hera, and Zeus could not keep it in his robe. He goes down to earth. He finds a woman named Alcmene, and 9 months later, there's a boy. Now here's where it gets ugly. Zeus knows Hera's going to lose it, so he tries to smooth it over by naming the kid after her. That's what the boy's name actually means, Glory of Hera, a peace offering. So that fixed it, right? It made it worse, because now every time anyone in the world said that boy's name out loud, Hera heard her husband's affair every single day for the rest of his life, a walking insult with her name stapled to it. And Zeus wasn't done, because he opens his mouth in front of everyone and swears a public oath. The next boy born into his bloodline will rule over all the others. He'll be a king. He's talking about his son, obviously. He's bragging, but he said it in front of Hera, and gods can't take an oath back. So what does she do? She reaches down and she holds the birth. She keeps the baby from coming, and then, across the sea, in another city, she yanks another baby out early. A weak, sickly, terrified little cousin named Eurystheus, born first, by minutes, which means the oath is done, locked. The crown goes to him. And our boy, the strongest thing that would ever walk the earth, he wakes up into a world where his throne already belongs to somebody else. Remember that kid. He's going to matter later. But Hera wasn't finished. A stolen crown wasn't enough. She wanted him gone. So she sends 2 serpents into his nursery while he's sleeping. Not to scare him, to kill him. In his sleep, before he could even walk. So this is where the story ends, right? Nope. The kid strangled them. Both of them. At the same time, with a smile on his face. And that's the moment everything changes. Because Hera just learned something. You can't kill this boy with monsters. You can't kill him with snakes, or lions, or armies, or anything with teeth. His body doesn't break. So she stops aiming at his body, and she starts waiting. Because the thing about a man who can't be broken from the outside is that nobody ever thinks to check the inside.
So the boy grows up, and strong doesn't really cover it. This is a kid who breaks things by holding them gently. Doors, chairs, friends. There's a story that his music teacher smacked him during a lesson, and Hercules smacked back. Once. That teacher did not teach again. And that's the thing nobody tells you about him. He wasn't a bully. He was a kid who couldn't control what he was. So they send him out to the fields, away from people, where he can't break anything that matters. And for a while, that's his whole life. But then a war starts. An enemy army rolls up on the city of Thebes and demands tribute. Every year, forever. Thebes had been paying it for years. Because what were they going to do? Fight? Well, Hercules showed up. Nobody knows exactly how long that fight lasted. They just know how it ended. The city was free, and Thebes had no idea how to thank a man like that. So the king gave him the biggest thing he had, his daughter, Megara. And then they had kids, 3 boys. He was happy, in a small house, with a loud family, in a city that finally wasn't scared of him. Quick thing before this goes where it goes. If you're still here, if this is the version of the story you actually wanted, subscribe. That's genuinely the whole reason these keep getting made. Okay, back to the house. And Hera was watching the whole time. Every fight, every army, every monster she threw at him, he broke it and kept walking. She'd spent his entire life looking for the crack in him, and now she was looking right at it. Not his body, them. Because you can't put armor on the people you love. So Hera goes to find someone. Her name was Lyssa, the goddess of madness. She wasn't a monster. She didn't bite. She didn't burn. She just walked into your mind and rearranged the furniture.
And Hera gave her exactly one instruction. That night, Hercules put his kids to bed. He'd never see them alive again. There's no scream, no flash, no warning. 1 second he's talking to his wife, and the next second he's somewhere else entirely. And here's what makes this so much worse than any monster he ever fought. He doesn't feel insane. He feels clear. He looks up, and he sees enemy soldiers in his house, beasts, invaders, coming for his family. So what does the strongest man alive do when monsters break into his home? He protects them. He shoots a bow first to his first son. The second one runs. He's a boy hiding from a monster, and his father doesn't see a boy. The third one, the youngest, is in his mother's arms. She's got her back to the wall. She's screaming his name, his real name, trying to reach him, and he can't hear her. He killed both, and then it just lifts. The smoke goes, the soldiers go, the monsters go, and he's standing in his own house, awake, himself, wondering why it's so quiet. He was the strongest man in the world, and he couldn't lift himself off that floor. There's nothing to fight here, no monster to strangle, no army to flatten. For the first time in his life, the thing that broke him was already in the room. And you want to know the cruelest part? He remembered all of it. Not the truth. He didn't remember his sons. He didn't remember his wife. He remembered monsters. He remembered feeling brave. He remembered thinking he was saving them. So what do you do the morning after that? He didn't run. He didn't hide. He decided he was going to end it. And that's when a friend of his showed up, a man named Theseus. And Theseus says the thing nobody else would say out loud. You weren't the one who did this. You were the weapon. Somebody else was the hand. But the blood was on his hands. So he walked to Delphi and asked the oracle one question. How do I make this right? And the answer was 10 years. 10 years of service. Whatever he was told to do, no refusing, no arguing. Serving who? Remember that kid? Eurystheus. The cousin Hera yanked out early to steal his crown. The weakest man in Greece, now the king. And now the guy holding the leash on the strongest man alive.
And he was terrified of him, constantly. So he sent him after things he was sure would kill him. A lion whose skin no blade could cut. Fine. A hydra that grew 2 heads back for every one you took off. Fine. And when he brought a live boar home, the king of Greece hid inside a jar. That actually happened. That's in the story. But here's what I need you to see. Every single one of those labors, the lion, the hydra, the trip into the land of the dead and back out, every legendary thing you have ever heard about this man happened after that night. They weren't adventures. He wasn't chasing glory. It was a sentence. He was working it off. 12 impossible things. Because 4 people died in a room he was standing in. And Hera? She'd spent his whole life trying to erase him. And every monster she threw at him made him more famous. She broke his mind, and the world called it a hero's story. She spent 3,000 years making him immortal by accident. So, how does the strongest man in the world kill his own family and walk away a hero? He doesn't. He just keeps walking. Was he guilty? A god reached into his head and used him, but it was still his hands. The Greeks argued about that for centuries and never landed on an answer. Tell me yours in the comments. I read them. And if you want the rest of these, the ones the cartoons cleaned up, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.